presentation is... Oh, perfect, okay. Right, so today is actually very special to me because usually I present to an automotive industry who have never used TouchDesigner before and are learning for the first time for me about it and how we work at Bentley with it. But now I'm presenting to the experts, so I'm actually very humbled to be presenting today. And yeah, I want this to be a dialogue, so if you have questions, if I'm using terms that you don't know that are automotive specific or things like that, just shout or ask questions. And yeah, I don't want this to be a monologue. A few sentences to me. So I studied in Germany interaction design, then worked at Audi, and then got scouted by Bentley, where I worked on my very first big project, the EXP 100 GT, which was the centenary show car that I'm going to show you in a second. That was the first big project we also made with TouchDesigner, and a first off for Bentley working with a software like this and showcasing what digital luxury could be for us. Then I did my master's with Bentley at the RCA. I'm now doing my PhD with them. So I'm going to talk about three main chapters. The first one is an introduction of how the automotive industry transforms with the digital transformation and how TouchDesigner fits right into this new creative space. Then about curated experiences on the example of the EXP 100 GT, our show car. And one project I made a few years ago, which is digital Mulliner, or digital personalization. So Bentley is 106 years old, so they have several generations of experience in craftsmanship from leather and wood and metal. So each single steering wheel is hand-stitched by only 2 people in the world, and every Bentley is designed and manufactured in Crewe. And each veneer that you order is actually like a painting made and assembled, like you see here in the middle, by hand. So the craftsmanship and the learning that went into crafting these materials is enormous, and those are the experts working there in those materials. And now with the digital transformation, there are new materials emerging, dynamic materials like sound, light, and digital content that goes onto screens and projection. And we at Bentley want to craft this content, craft the light, craft the sound, the same way as the craftsmen do it with the leather or the wood, and really personalize and curate those experiences for the luxury customer. And this process also needs tools. So you can, I think this software looks familiar to everyone here. Oh, so we use the metaphor of curation engine for this process. So instead of having an overwhelming choice for the customer, like you get at a restaurant, you get a curated experience that's only made for you with seasonal ingredients, contextual and adaptive, like a Michelin dish. Or on the other side, another example is traveling. I think everyone who lives in London knows the station, Euston, just overwhelming information, too many people. And on the other side, what we want to offer to our customers are concierge travel, where you don't have to worry about anything. It's purely for you, personalized, and you don't need to make a choice. It's tailored to you. So the same can be said for our interior spaces. Instead of having submenu over submenu and loads of information, you need to go into submenus to adjust the HVAC. We, with one simple motion of changing the Curation controller, you get your perfect environment. HVAC, seat, lighting, and sound, everything changes with one gesture. So this is how we explain this. Loads of inputs are going in there, and then going through different modes. Depending on the mode you are in, it's being created in a different way and creates your Bentley experience. So this already looks very much like TouchDesigner, right? So it naturally fits into this way of working. And the first time I brought TouchDesigner to Bentley, it was like an eye-opener that that's exactly the software we need to work with and that can deliver those experiences. All right, okay. So the first car where we actually made it happen was our show car. Showed it to the world what we imagine under created experiences, the EXP 100 GT. We launched 2 modes in this car, which were on the opposite side of the spectrum, Cocoon and Enhance. One of them, with a simple gesture over the crystal interface over here, pulled all the inputs from the inside into the car. So we had a camera feed that picked up color and motion, translated it into color experience. And the other side is cocooning. So with another gesture, you push all the noise and all the information, you push it out, and the cabin turns into a cocooning haven. For the single touch point that we call the Curation controller, we work together with the experts from different fields. So for example, Cumbria Crystal, oh, actually I have pictures, yeah. Cumbria Crystal, they're the last British crystal manufacturer here, and they do also the crystals for the royal family and for movies like James Bond and so on. And they really know their material. So those are the people you actually want to gain knowledge from, to work together how dynamic materials and materials like glass can work together to create this new kind of craftsmanship that never has been there before. Usually it's separate. You have the screen and you have your trim, but we want to actually blend it. And in the Continental, you actually see I'm not sure if you know the Continental interior. It's the rotating display, so you have analog digital side by side. You can choose between veneer and screen. And in this car, we showed for the first time how these worlds blend together. Another person I need to mention in collaborating with experts is Moritz Waldemar. He's a creative technologist, I would say, an artist. And he made all the meshes, the LED meshes behind those interfaces. So the whole car basically turned, you can see the TouchDesigner viewport, into a 3D canvas for us. Yeah, he's also, I mean, he must, check him out. He's amazing. He also does, he did a digital version of a Fabergé egg, which the whole thing was just purely electronics and LEDs, and nothing was decorative. Everything was functional and the actual shape of the Fabergé egg. Yeah, amazing guy. Right, okay, and another thing about craftsmanship that not a lot of people talk about is all the time and the learning that goes into actually understanding how light behaves, how light interacts with the material. And having a software like TouchDesigner, where you in real time can iterate, is just, it's a game changer. Other car companies, they have pipelines where they need to export each single sequence again, check it, replay it. But with this kind of software, you can iterate with management and design or CMF. You can iterate on the fly with them, adjust colors, motion. I'm jumping maybe. But yeah, the point in this was to find actually what's beautiful for humans in general. Something that will always be beautiful, because a caveman already picked up a frozen leaf and took it to the light and looked at it shine. Like, that's something that will always be beautiful to humans. And finding these moments and translating them into the car, that's what we actually want to do. So, oh yeah, I have here a few mood images of, we all also looked at the light sparkle on a water surface, on a sunset. Those are all things those are luxury, timeless beauty. Yeah, so when I see things like this, for example, this is actually a piece of a headlamp that's already on the car, but you could reuse it. When I see this, I see a light carpet that when you open the door, it could project onto the floor. Or when I see this here, this could be an expression of a digital assistant when you talk to it, like Siri or something. Yeah, so we made, with Cumbria Crystal together, we understood slowly how light and material interacts together. We made a few different proposals of this central touch point. And in the end, we came up with this layered design that also in itself has lenses. So when the LEDs hit this object, it refracts into thousands little sparkles, and it looks like this infinity pond. And we did the same for all the other all the other actors, like the grille or the rear lamps, and also light through trim. This one was really challenging because you also had to iterate color against trim color. And also the brightness was really key on this one. So I have a little movie that's 2 minutes. I hope we have time for that. So this is just explaining the two different modes, and then capturing and reliving your greatest moments of the Grand Tour. And I hope there's sound. Thank you so much. Any questions so far, or is everyone good? Okay, perfect. All right, okay, so reliving and capturing your greatest moments of the Grand Tour, that was one of the key things we wanted to show in the show car. And I would like to show an amazing part of my work, digital Mulliner. So Mulliner is the term for when you personalize your car beyond what you get at the dealer. So for example, if you have your family logo, you want to have it stitched on the seats, or you want marquetry on your IP, or if you want to get a bespoke light carpet when the door opens, you work with me together. So that's a really nice part of my work, so I can get very close to the customer and what they want, what their needs are, and so on, and also, yeah, iterating with them on the fly on the wishes. So this was actually those are two light sculptures that I made to showcase that service. So I actually can't show the ones that went into the car because of privacy. Privacy is an absolute top priority for us at Bentley. But yeah, so Bentley offers these amazing concierge service journeys. And there are a few iconic ones like the Tibet hot climb journey with the Bentayga, or sand surfing in Sharjah on the Red Dune. So I had a look which journeys could be actually fitting to showcase digital Mulliner, and I set on those two, which are very, very different kind of journeys. One of them is very dynamic, focused on driving experience, which is this one, the Sharjah one. And then the second one is more of a cultural, slower journey. And also color-wise, they're very different, so it was really interesting. So from the journey, A Bentley has so many sensors. It has over 100 sensors, and depending on what spec you get, for example, the Bentayga also has interior sensors like heartbeat and so on. So you can get a massive amount of data to actually capture journeys, or yeah, and also camera feed. So this, for example, is the journey from the view of the car. But these massive amounts of data that I got in the beginning, it was just overwhelming, and to actually make them readable in TouchDesigner was quite a painful struggle at the start. Also because they go through a filter, like a CAN filter, and the car also sees things differently than we do. So for example, this is a heartbeat. I would never think of a heartbeat to look like that. But actually, once you manage to get the data being read out and being matched with all the other inputs like camera and so on, it looks beautiful. Like this here, this is a CSV file. There's already beauty in the natural data, in the natural journey as it is. So in the end, what I did was, for some of the parameters like G-force, I translated them quite literally into texture, like you see here. And then there's already the imperfection and authenticity to it. It also reminded me a little bit of the speech Biliam did last year. I'm not sure if about imperfection in design. Really beautiful. I think you can also rewatch it in case. Anyway, and it also reminded me of the way Turner works, because he's the master of abstraction, and then he adds this little detail that makes you put the whole thing into context. So actually taking the data, translating it, and then just adding a few bits and bobs where actually the footage is more visible, or the G-force is more visible, makes the whole thing, come to life. So it was this, it was really interesting to work and learn through this data. So those are the two light sculptures that I made, one of the Tibet one and the Sharjah one. And those translate into welcome sequences in the car then. So you as the user can be greeted by your favorite journey or your special day, maybe your wedding day or something. This moment can be captured and then replayed in the car. It can be welcome. Is it actually playing? Here it is, okay. And we collaborated with a sound artist, James Wilkie from Sensory Experience. I can also highly recommend Sensory Experiences. He works in a very similar way than we do with TouchDesigner, with generative sound. So if you hear the little sparkle in the background, that's also a generated sound matching to the light sculpture. We also had the light sculptures in a showroom projected onto some threads here. And we see this not only being in your car, but also in your home or on your touch point on the app and so on. So it's something, the old world is just having a picture of your car, but the new world is actually having a capture of your experience that only you with Bentley can create. I thought I'll add this because I added some gesture input. I thought it might be interesting for this audience. So if you come closer, you get more information about the light sculptures, and when you come closer again, it closes the information again. Yes, so the way we worked on the light sculptures can translate into emotional use cases, like the bespoke digital Mulliner, bespoke welcome sequences, bespoke light carpets, or it can translate into something very different, something functional. So for example, we did motion sickness studies in the past, pretty similar to the way like we did light sculptures, by reading out CSV data and camera input at the same time, and then iterating if patterns and light actually can prevent motion sickness for the user. And this is how I work most of the time in the cars. You see TouchDesigner is on the center screen, and then we orchestrate the whole car with TouchDesigner. So yeah, I basically said that already. I can go through a file really quickly. I'm not sure, it's not as clean as the Richard one, so I feel a little bit embarrassed. But let's see. I can't see. All right, okay, this will be. how did Richard do this? This is quite, I can't see it here now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I usually get the signals from the car as UDP input over here. It looks very chaotic, but believe me, it's not as complicated as it actually looks like. And then all the design. Oh my, this is an exercise. Oh yeah, you can see all the parameters are linked up to the container here, and then they're linked to the designs that are inside. So when I go in here, that's what we would call the Curation engine that I built in TouchDesigner. Oh, it's really hard like this. But if I go into the modes, there are just endless layers. If you go in there, there are more and more. So here are Cocoon and Enhanced Drive and all the other modes. And then I see, I can unpause it. Oh yeah, we also have sound in there. So we're orchestrating sound and screen content and lighting with TouchDesigner. Oh, I think that's a show file that I did in my last presentations. I changed the sequence already here. But when I change the mode, you see that this, for example, is Enhanced Drive. If the car would speed up, then there should be an acceleration boost, and that's the logic is made in TouchDesigner and the way the design itself too. And yeah, this way of working is not possible in the common automotive industry. It might be very like a no-brainer for this community because you work like this every day, but historically the automotive industry is not as flexible like this. Okay, let me just go back to the presentation. So I want to close with the big bang for next year. So you all need to come back for the presentation next year because there's so much more cool stuff to show. Because TouchDesigner is a tool that is understood by designers and by engineers. That's the really powerful part for us. So we want to use it, or we are using it on our first generation BEV, so battery electric vehicle. As implementation tool. So the TouchDesigner file I do is actually the file that also goes onto the car. And we worked with an amazing artist recommended by Derivative, thank you so much, Aristotle Rufanis, who helped pulling this together. It was an absolute major project. And I can talk about that next year more. But this is the outlook I want to close on. And actually, the whole purpose of this presentation is to inspire you as artists that all the cool stuff you're doing is also influencing completely different industries, like the car industry. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, Naomi. Beautiful, beautiful work. How did you find the adoption in general of the sort of more engineer-minded people at Bentley for what you're doing?
Yeah, it really comes down to we're a very small team at Bentley in general, and it comes down to the single engineers. And there was one engineer, he looked at it and he said, wait, that's exactly what we could also implement onto the ECU. And then we started the conversation also with you guys, and yeah, and it really took off from there. Also, the other brands are interested in this. So I really hope that this will be a tool in the future for automotive industry, for designers and engineers to work together. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, it would be industry changing.
Yeah, for sure.